All right, welcome to the Modern Sikh. Glad everybody's here. So I'm back with Jaspreet again, and today's topic is going to be a little controversial, maybe just a little. Jaspreet, first of all, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. What's going on, man?
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm doing all right. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So I'm glad you're with me again because I'm going to talk about some things that are going to be controversial. It came up last year or maybe the year before. I think it was last year, and it's something that the community is going to be dealing with for a long time. And there's a post by somebody on Instagram we'll talk about too on this. And basically, it's about gay marriage in Sikhi. And it's coming more prominent, especially, and this topic really kicked off when these two guys got married. And it was all over news. I'm getting, everyone's like sending me things and sending your friends things like, yo, man, was this kosher? What's going on? This, that. So let's talk about that. You down with this?
Yeah, of course, dude. I think that it's usually a very abstract conversation and people like making it theoretical, but when it becomes very, very real, then everybody gets up in arms.
Exactly, exactly. And I want to keep it real and I want to keep it normal. And I do want to preface this by saying, look, this is just me and Jaspreet talking. I invite anybody in the community that, is transgender or homosexual or whatever, and they want to talk about this. I'll be so delighted to talk about this. There is, because I know people are going to just point to us, be like, hey, look at these two guys. They don't even know what we feel. And that's true, we don't. But we're going to talk about culture. We want to talk about that. We want to talk about other things too. So hopefully you guys won't mind. So let me get off straight off the bat. When I saw those two guys getting married, for me, it's not about Sikhi does not discriminate. There's no duality. It's all oneness, Sikh Onkar, and I'm on that. I want anyone to love anybody, be happy, kushro, do what you want to do. But when you bring Sikhi into it and the way you treat the guru, that'll upset me. And so I did not like what they did. First of all, okay, fine. They did it outside and stuff. People are sitting back with shoes on. That's all good too. Fine, fine, fine. There's a chadar there and people are sitting on there too. But the thing is, the way that the Guru Granth Sahib was supposed to be treated and the way it was rubbed me the wrong way. It really did, man. So I want to talk about that marriage because that kind of kicked off too. What are your first impressions when you first got the news? Like, hey, this has happened on. I think it happened on the West Coast.
Wait, let me get your pulse. Did you just say that it was okay that they were wearing shoes?
No, I didn't say it was okay to wear shoes. The people that are sitting on the grass, sitting on chairs, they're wearing shoes. Yeah, yeah. But you're already outside. You're already, and I don't expect people on the grass to have. And I get it. I get it. The whole thing was topsy turvy for me. But I want to get your thoughts, your initial thoughts when you first got that news.
I mean, it's unfamiliar, right? We're very used to a very orthodox way of thinking about a lot of things. And the thing is that, so obviously it's going to be out of our comfort zone. But there's also I think there should be a place where orthodoxy meets modernity, right? If we're going to be challenging issues, we have to be doing it through a Gurmat lens. And so I think our conversation is mainly going to be oriented around, you know, was what happened Gurmat? And if it's going to be, look, there's a lot of intersectionality. How Guru Sahib should be treated is the act itself proper, is how the Sangat treated Guru Sahib proper, was the way that Kirtan was sung proper. I think that's all up in the air right now for most of us. And so I think there's a lot of intersections, and we have to kind of, analyze each one at its own virtues, but you can't just holistically say it's wrong, right? Because that does it injustice.
Maybe, maybe. So let me get off. I don't want to sound like a rant, but it might. But let me just get off, all right, on this for a second. First of all, the whole one of the secrets in life is all perception. It's not reality. It's what you perceive it to be, right? So these are my thoughts. And so first of all, you're not even that sick. The two dudes, One was Hindu, one was Sikh, okay? So you're not even that sick. And when I mean that sick, yes, I don't have a thermometer where I could go and plug it in and be like, how much sick are you? Totally get it. But you're not that sick looking. You're not that sick look. You're not an Amritari Sikh trying to get married. You're just not. You're not even that sick looking. So you kind of wanted to do this. That's one. Second, it's like you did two ceremonies. So you're gay or not. For me, doing two religious ceremonies, if you're Hindu, Christian, or whatever, but you're Sikh too, and you want to do a Nandkaraj and you want to do one of their religious ceremonies as well, I'm not in favor of that. I'm all in favor of one. Do one. Do whatever religion you want, but do one because you're doing injustice to both when you do it on Sikh. Basically, what the Guru is saying, what the Hukam is saying, it's all like BS because you're saying yes, 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 you want to get these pictures done and all that, but you're not following it. So it's basically you're it's basically disgracing the guru, man. It's like a shameful ceremony for everyone. So that's another thing. Okay. So it's like you do, and plus the rat wasn't followed. No, but I'm just saying like the rat wasn't followed either. So even if you do it and you do the ceremony, you're not even doing the ceremony correctly. And on top of that, you got the gay element in there, okay? That everyone's gonna do, and you did all these things wrong. You did all these things wrong. Forget you're gay. The way you did the ceremony itself was all messed up, man. And you win, and it's fine. Do your thing. Do whatever makes you happy in life. But when you start bringing the guru into it, you gotta treat the Guru Granth Sahib with way more respect. Guru Granth Sahib is the king. You didn't treat the king well. You thought you guys were kings that day. Not happening. That is not a good way to treat the Guru, you know? And so how do you expect me, a person that doesn't even know you as well, to think of you guys when you didn't even respect my Guru that well?
I mean, okay. So here's my first question to you, right? Because you said that they're not even that sick. Let's just address that first, right? Everything else is second. Yeah, I don't have the Dragon Ball Z power monitor either. I can't sit here and say your Sikhi is over 9,000. But what I can say is if that's our standard, it seems very double standard of us. Because your name is Jaskarn and wear a pug for a day or grow out your hair for a month doesn't make you any more of a Sikh. And if if we're using that as our standard for legitimizing this marriage or not, then we got to be honest with ourselves. This stuff happens almost every single day of the year. In Britain, I think 2 years ago, there was a couple, straight couple. One was Hindu, one was Sikh, and they had the same issue. And people were up in arms, but most of the community came out in support because they were having just one ceremony. Here, I went to this wedding. This couple had the marriage at a hotel, in the reception hall of a hotel. And right after the Ananda Karaj, we were booted out of the area where Guru Sahib was. Guru Sahib was taken. And then after that, a puja was done so they could have another ceremony. And I've been to another marriage where they went to a church after the Gurdwara. So this is common practice nowadays. Unfortunately, I don't agree with it, but if that's our standard, why is it now that we're bringing it up? Like, if this is the standard for us saying that you're not Sikh enough, bro, then where was that for the last 20, 30 years? Because I'm going to be honest, if we were talking about Guru Sahib's respect and not acting like kings ourselves on that day, one of the funniest things I've ever heard in Ardas, said by Granthi Singh was that, where at the end of Ardas, you ask Guru Sahib that ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਖੁੰਦੇ ਕਾਰਜ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ ਤਾਂ ਆਸਰਾ ਦਿਓ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਪਾਠ ਪੂਜਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਰਿਸੈਪਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦਾਰੂ ਪੀਣੀ ਆ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਪਾਉਣੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਪੰਗੇ ਲੈਣੇ ਆ that's it. So like if we're talking about people acting like kings on their wedding day, this isn't an isolated incident, right? And we say this every single wedding. It's not nothing something new. Like it's just we're very hypocritical. We're very, very full of ourselves for the most part. So second thing that you brought up, that Guru Sahib wasn't respected. The respect of Guru Sahib isn't just in Hazuri. The biggest respect of Guru Sahib is Bani Guru, Guru hai Bani, vich Bani Amrit Sare. So are we living to the standards of our Guru? And for the most part, if we're very honest, I don't think we are. I'm saying this as an Amritari Singh. I'm not talking about second person, I'm talking about myself. Am I living the standard of my Guru? Am I living the wisdom of my Guru every day? And in this conversation, especially, I would say that most of us aren't. And even in Nasa Divar, Guru Sahib calls out the superior acting religious hierarchies and elites. And in Sikhi now we have those as well. So it's funny. It's a ironic situation we're in right now. And this marriage brings all of it out. It makes it very, very ugly, very, very quickly for us. So here's my question. Why is it now that this gay marriage takes place, now we talk about you're not a Sikh enough, the disrespect of Guru Sahib, the wedding taking place outside? Why is it now? Jagmeet Singh got married in Mexico, but we just had brought it up as destination marriage, and again, it wasn't as controversial as this. But now this happens, and suddenly everybody is worried about who's Sikh enough and who can get married and where we can get married. Because let's face it, Jagmeet Singh could have gotten married at a Gurdwara. He could have, but he didn't. These gay people, how many Gurdwara do you know that are going to let you get married as a gay person? How many Bhai Sahibs do you know that are going to administer that Anand Karaj? So I see limited space for them. What's our excuse? So again, why is this coming up as a conversation now? That's my question to you.
So I read this book by I.J. Singh a while ago and about discrimination and can gay Sikhs get married. And he's like, look, we shouldn't discriminate. You know, I ask my cousins, I ask anyone I know that's more wiser than me on this. And they're like, look, we can't discriminate against anybody. So yes. But which Gurdwara is going to let them do that? And that's the thing. The Gurdwara is not going to let you do it, and I totally get it. I totally get that point. All I'm trying to say is if you're not Sikh enough, and they might prove me wrong, by the way. They might prove me wrong. But I am, just to what I saw, is I don't think you're Sikh enough. Because first of all, if I ask you what the Panch Pyare are, if I'm a betting man, which I am, I don't know if you are, and you take the other side of that bet, you're going to lose, I think. Because by the way, I saw their interviews afterwards and everything like that. They just wanted to do it because that's part of their heritage and this and that. Nobody said anything about Gurbani. Nobody said anything about Sikhi. If you have an interview, hook me up, because they didn't say anything about that. They just said, oh, this is part of my heritage and culture and I want to do it. Great. Fine. But the way you did it too is wrong. So I'm not, it's not, like I said, I can't plug something in and see how sick you are, but perception matters. Perception matters, okay? I don't know Jagmeet Singh. I never met him. I don't know anything, but I do know he got married in Mexico or wherever he got married. But the thing is that dude shows his kirpan, wears it. He talks about social political issues, which Sikhs should talk about, I think, on the platform that he's in. Yeah, I don't know how Sikh is he, but for me, he's a lot in tune with Sikhi than the couple, So those are the types of things that matter. I mean, that's what the world looks at. And the reason why we're talking about this, because it just got real. It got real when those two guys got married. It got real for everybody. Yes, I know. I've been to weddings. I have people in my family that had 2 weddings. Okay. I'm not for all that stuff. I'm not for it. I get it. But if you're going to do it, do it the right way. Fine. I know you couldn't do it in the Gurdwara. I know you couldn't do it there. But even when you do it outside, why are you wearing kalgis when you're getting married, man? Everyone knows it's Guru Gobind Singh only. It's not you. So these are types of things, like, take some respect. Not everything, but thoda ta lelo, thoda, just a little, just to be like, this is our respect, And this is how I feel. This is not, maybe it's good or bad or whatever. But if and I'm not in that place where, luckily my wife is Sikh too, so I'm not in that place, but, I have a daughter, and people are going to be like, oh yeah, you're just saying this right now, but when she gets married, it's whatever. But I have a daughter, and if she gets married to a non-Sikh and she wants two weddings, she's only going to get one ceremonial wedding. Are you going to do the Sikh wedding, or are you going to do whatever your husband is? That's fine. But I'm not. For me, at least this point in my life, the guru is the highest point. You can't disrespect the guru. I don't care. I mean, my forefathers would be hurt. Everyone would be hurt. So that's how I just feel about these things. It needed to be done in a better. Maybe we wouldn't be that. I wouldn't be that uneasy about it if it was done in a better way, in a proper way, where they showed respect to our rat at least. And so let's get into the rat too, and let's get into Gurbani as well. But at least, so that's what makes me uneasy. That's what I'm like, oh, they're just doing it for pictures and show and their heritage, which they said in their interview post that that's why they did it. So it's like, I'm not making this up, guys.
Yeah, is it? But isn't that the reason that most people nowadays do it? That's what I'm saying. Like, why is it an issue when they do that? Like, if we have interviews from these people, but if we did interviews of every third Jaskaran or Amritpal or Jaypal, Deep Singh, whatever name has you, if we did an interview with them and we asked them what the Panchapada's names were, how many of them would know? We go to Vaisakhi. We don't even need to go to Anand Garage. We could talk about the number of people that show up at Vaisakhi in Punjab or here that get asked, what's Vaisakhi for? Why are we here today? Or Bandi Shor, choose your event. And we ask them, why are you here today? What's the answer? There's this guy in Surrey. I think you've probably seen this video. This lady asks him, what's today? He goes, Vaisakhi. She's like, what's Vaisakhi? And then he says, that's too much. So, I mean, like, why is it that we're scrutinizing only this homosexual couple? I get it. I agree with you that there should be more depth to it, more breadth to it, more knowledge to it. There should be a higher standard for us. I agree with you on that. What I don't agree is, why them? Why is it that this litmus test only applies to these people? If we did this to everybody else and not to these people, I would completely agree with you. I would be the first person to say, yes, Manpreet Singh, we need to stop this, educate them properly, give them because look, the biggest glaring thing you brought up is that there's a shabad that talks about the purpose of a gurdwara. It's gurdware hoye soji paisi. Are we illuminating people at our gurdwara? And the obvious answer is no. What we go to the gurdwara for is to eat pakode. It's not about diversity of conversation or views or lenses. It's not like Babek Sar of Guru Har Gobind Maharaj, where Baba Buddha Ji is sitting there having these very deep debates with people. It's literally going there to listen to maybe a little bit of kirtan, go downstairs to judge a bunch of people, eat a bunch of food, come back home, say we went to the Gurdwara. So when that's our situation with our institutions, what type of outward facing, understanding, invoking of the Guru's Shabad properly are we looking at? Like, I'm more than happy to have this conversation with as many people as possible, but I bet they can't find a single pankti, and we're going to have this conversation, a single pankti or a single shabad with a central focus on the fact that we are supposed to get married cis. There's not a single one. I mean, a lot of Bani is literally men speaking from the point of view of a woman. Kuchaji, Suchaji, Gunavanti are literally three shabads about by the gurus, all men, that are from the point of view of a female. And a lot of Bani talking about the journey with the Guru Sahib it even mentions there's this one shabad that talks about, I just want to spend one night with you, Guru Sahib. That's Guru Nanak Maharaj talking. And he says, give me one night. So when Guru Sahib is being that open, and this is from a point of view of a female, then why are we so quote unquote orthodox? Why are we so quote unquote so conservative with our understanding of gender norms? When Guru Sahib has been talking about this since 1469, sure, maybe not completely openly, but it's all there. You can't find a single shabad.
Okay. Before I get to that, on the Gurdwaras failing us, that's a podcast for another day, because trust me, I got rants on that too. Look, I get it. Fine. The Gurbani line. Let's talk about the Gurbani lines first, because then I want to get to Rat, because Rat does count for something, right? If you just have Guru Granth Sahib, how do you know the Lama are for marriage? Who said that? It says it in the Rat, right? How do you know you're supposed to get up and listen to it and walk around and all that? It says it in the Rat, right? Guru Granth Sahib doesn't say that. So you can't you cannot do it without the Rat. And Rat is there for um, a specific reason. It's there to codify, to codify, to give a structure, so we won't fight on these little issues. Anyways, we'll get to the Rat, but let's talk about the Gurbani part right now, which is, you're right. But the most common phrase is Ek Jot Doi Murti, right? I think Guru Amar Das Ji wrote that. So that in every wedding card, which I didn't even want on my wedding card, but I was forced to. I was going to put the Pai Gurdas Ranjahir line in there, but parents are parents. So when that line is basically on 95% of the cards, on the wedding cards. And it says husband and wife sitting together, one soul. I'm paraphrasing, one soul. So is it not husband and wife?
So if we're going to bring up that pankti, then we're also going to have to codify what Guru Granth Sahib Ji talks about as Ek Jot Doi Murti and Tan Per Kaiye Soe. So the shabad that comes up in my mind is Is Jag mein Purkh Ek hai Hor Sagali Nar Sabai. In this world, there is only one male, that's Akal Purkh, Hor Sagali Nar Sabai. Nar meaning female. Everybody else is female. So in that shabad, Guru Sahib is talking about becoming one, not just with our partner, but with that Akal Purkh, drawing inspiration through our relationship in real life. Because the thing is, for Sikhs, everything is divine inspiration, right? Whether it's food, whether it's the music we listen to, whether it's conversations, there's an anecdote for every single one of them, whether it's politics. We have inspiration for all of it, and we have inspiration even for our marriages. And so, if we're going to talk about Ek Jot, Doi Murti, those murtis aren't named specifically male and female. Murtis are just things vessels. That's all they are. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters, which is central for all Sikhs, is the soul. And what's the gender of that soul? It's formless. It's nirpa, nirvair, akal murta juni sapang gurprasad. Like, take your pick. At where it counts for all of us, at the soul level, what we're talking about merging together, becoming one consciousness, where's the discriminating factor? Does it say that our sexual organs have to be different? I don't think so. Does it say that our hormone differences have to be at a certain level? Progesterone, estrogen, testosterone? Like, do they have to meet certain requirements? Like, what other requirement is written in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj? It only says, Ek Jot, Doi Murti, Tan Per Kaiye Soe. That's it.
Okay, hold on. So you're saying the Sikh world has been interpreting this line wrong for a while? Because I'm with you on this, by the way. If if everyone thinks I'm not, I'm with you on this. But so the Sikh world has been interpreting this wrong. The people that wrote the Rat Murada knew these lines. Much scholars, the whole world, took part in it, to create it. So, but there were a lot of scholars there. They took a lot of Ratnamas and stuff. So, did they just put this line to the side, or what?
You just answered my question. You answered your own question, didn't you? You just said there were so many Ratname before, Rat Maryada before. Why was this one created? The reason it was created was because things, unlike Akal Purkh, the timeless Bani, our code of conduct has to be codified based with the needs of the times. That's why the Rat Maryada was created, because we saw a huge splinter in the community. Everybody was doing whatever they wanted to do, and they were like, hold up, let's find common ground. And that's the main crux. Everybody agrees that Akal Takht Rat Maryada is common ground. They don't say it's this end all be all. They say that's where we all agree. Like, take any example. Where does Zara Sahib end? If you sit in Sangat, the second that we finish Mandavani Mahalla Panjama and are about to finish Zahra Sahib, everybody looks each other in the eyes and they're like, do we do the next part or not? Or when we do Doira, when we say Agya Paiya Kal Ki Tabe Chalaye Pand Sabse Khan Ko Hukam Hai Guru Manyo Granth. After that part, when we start talking, do the next lines, Khanda Jaake Haath Mein Kalgi Sohe Sis, everybody is looking at each other like, are we supposed to be saying this? So when those things are open for interpretation, when those things are open for us to challenge and do our independent analysis on, why isn't this? Like, where do we draw the lines? Like, either we respect Akal Takht Rehat Maryada all the way, and everybody agrees that is our Akal, like, Maryada, period. There is no messing with it. There is nothing to do with it. Or it's all open to interpretation, as long as we agree to these common core values that Anand Karaj needs to be a certain way, performed a certain way, and the parameters are that you're born into a Sikh family, and especially the way that we just read it before we started this, that the female only has to be born into a Sikh family. Where did these ideas come? Where is that in Bani? What matters to us as Sikhs is that everything in our Rehat Maryada that is based in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, that can give you distinct examples of where they got this information, 100% cannot be changed. So when we find things like, when we talk about Anand Karaj, the Lama, and we talk about the Shabad of Palle Tende Lagi, and the Shabad that's sung afterwards by everybody, Sabbe Habbe Kaj Savedle Thiye, O Palle Tende Lagi, and then I forgot the other Shabad that they sing at the end. But when all of that's written down, I don't challenge that, because that's literally from Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj telling us what's supposed to be read where. When it says Hukamnama has to be taken a certain way, I'm fine with that. But when there's things in there that have no precedence in Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, like the female needs to be from a male family, where find me the Shabad. And by the way, it's worth mentioning Guru Nanak Maharaj had the first interfaith marriage ever. That's a fact. Like Guru Nanak, Bibi Nanaki, Pai Mardana. Other than that, who was a Sikh? She was from a Hindu family. He had the first interfaith marriage ever, but we don't talk about that. But he also didn't have 2 marriage ceremonies. So I agree with you on that. That's where we agree. And I'm not arguing for one either. And here's my question. I'm throwing it back to you now, because now I want to pick your brain a little bit. Why is it that we have such a hesitancy when it comes to these issues in terms of Rehat, but everything else, chakki jao fatte? Like, you had the langar at your house, right? With the meat, notoriously. No. But if we're talking about Rehat, yeah. If we're talking about Rehat, then if that's open to interpretation and we're allowed to do with langar whatever we want to do, then why is this an issue for you bringing up Rehat, right?
That's another podcast too. Yeah. But I did. Yep. It's because, look, it's an issue for me the way it was done. That's all I'm trying to say. It was, and like I said, I'm going back. Can't be done in a Gurdwara, but let's say it could be done in a Gurdwara. Fine, cool. The guy's uncle had a Gurdwara or something like that, and it was done there, and it was done properly, where the Guru was respected the whole time. Would I be that uneasy? Probably not. So for me, it's about, if you're doing if you're doing anything in life, do it properly, or why even do it, right? So if you're doing something with a religious ceremony that's very near and dear to the diaspora's heart, when any religious issues come up, you just do it right. Try to do it as right as possible, at least. That's the whole thing. And I know that the people that do marriages, and a lot of people get married and they do it for the pictures and they do it for the show. They don't really care. They matha dekh lende hai, nothing happens. And I totally get all that. Right? But this is a whole new the reason I'm talking about it, and we're talking about it too, because this is something the Punt needs to deal with now. This ain't the first, and this ain't the last. There's going to be many, many more. We're in 2021. There's going to be many, many more. So that's why I'm talking about it. The other stuff, talk about people's parents have failed them. The religious institutions like gurdwaras have failed people to inspire them to be a better Sikh or to walk on the path and all that. I'm with you. I'm with you. It has failed, and people's parents have failed. When I look at parents and what they say too, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Everyone's in this weird state. But anyways, that's why I'm uneasy the way it was done. Not that two people that are sick are not even sick, but let's say two people that are sick and they want to get married and they are homosexual, all good. Maybe if it was done in a right way, maybe if two Amritaris, right? I think that was another Instagram post that you saw that you gave me. If two Amritaris got married and maybe it's done, maybe I'll be like, okay, maybe it could set some precedents. Maybe. So let's see.
So the thing is that I agree with you, but here's the three questions I want to bring up. The thing is, with doing it in a gurdwara, you bring a breath of knowledge. Maybe, and here's the question: maybe those two people aren't very sick, like you said. Maybe they don't know that you're supposed to take off the kalgi. Maybe they don't know proper formalities that are done in Guru Sahib's Hazuri. Because, and here's how I know that might be the issue. When people sit down in Guru Sahib's Hazuri for Anand Karaj, the Granthi Singh most of the time says, Bete di kalgi lado. Like most Granthi Singhs tell them. And the second question that I have is, there's two dynamics here. One's the Amritari, not Amritari thing, devoted versus not devoted. In both spaces, this needed to take place, quite honestly. Because the thing is that this has been happening inside of the community with undevoted people being cis, being heterosexual for decades. And no one flinched an eye. No one said it needs to be between devout Sikhs. No, not a single person that I know of. But so for me, it's not like two undevout gay people should not have to meet a bar that hasn't been met for decades. I think that's unfair. If we're going to make people meet the bar, make everybody meet the bar across the board, always. And hey, you shake your head, but for me, like, what's the difference? I personally don't see the difference. If we're going to make people prove that they're sick enough, that they have a breadth of knowledge, that they can live up to the Anandakaraj they just performed, then why isn't it across the board? Why is it only a precursor or something that people need to meet at a standard before, if only you're gay? I don't get that. And the third question is that, as a community, we have these corings. Like, we have things that we question. We have issues with. Why is it that we say we bow down to Guru Sahib, Padshah Sardeya, but then when it comes to the crucial situations like this conversation, Guru Sahib is not the one that we bring up. We bring up our own egos. So why is that? If Guru Sahib is Padshah, then act like Padshah. You don't go to the king when things are irrelevant and ceremonial. This isn't the Queen of England we're talking about now. We're talking about Badshah de Padshah, Badshah or Dorla, Deen Dunida Padshah. That's what we're talking about. If that's the conversation, then let's make it meaningful. But we're not. As a community, we are willingly leaving Guru Sahib out of the important decisions. Willingly.
Look, man, I've said before, our Gurdwaras have failed us. They failed every marriage. They failed so many marriages, they can't even explain the Lama right. Trust me, I'm with you.
I'm not even saying that. It's not even about the Gurdwara. I'm not even blaming the Gurdwara at this point. I'm saying that even this discourse, it seems like it's very double standarded. That's my main issue.
No, because look, when you are gonna do something different in life, when you are a different, let me this is how life works, I'm not saying this is fair. I'm not saying this is fair. So people, please don't get on me. But this is how life works, man. When Jackie Robinson in baseball broke the color barrier, he had to be good. On top of that, when people were spitting and saying things, he had to be very disciplined. He was the right person at the right time to do all that stuff. So when you are, this is what I'm trying to say to the community. This is my plea. This is not like don't get married if you're Sikh and gay. This is my plea. When you're doing this and you're trying to break a crazy barrier in the culture or in the religion, you got to do it the right way and you got to do it good because people are going to hammer you no matter what. People are going to hammer you. And if you do it wrong, that's even more, they're going to rank on you even more. So if you do it the right way, just like Jackie Robinson did and other people that broke, you got to be, when you're a minority, you got to do double the work to get to that standard, okay? So that's what I'm trying to say. They're the minority in the Sikh community. So when you got to show people like, look, we're people too, and we have a voice and we have a say, and you guys better get with the program. You got to do it the right way. When you don't do it the right way, all you have is giving them the ammunition to hit you back and hit you back and hit you back. Just like you gave me ammunition, and when I saw their post interview to hit them back, So that's all I'm trying to say, man. That's all I'm trying. There's no double. There's double standards in everything, in every religion, and everything you do, and work, and everything. But this is the time. The real people, and I basically I'm pleading with you guys. If you're out there, you got my support, but do it the right way. Do it the right way, so then we could set a precedent. So people aren't scared. People aren't bullied. People aren't going through hell just so they want to be with their person that they love. I'm all for that, but let's do it the right way.
So pretty much, and correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing from you is the first one through the wall is always bloodiest. So always be ready with band-aids. That's what I'm hearing, right? And I agree with you. But the reason that you have to be 200% better than everybody else that came before is because the audience that you're talking to, it matters to them because they're going to be hypercritical. I would like to think that the Sikh Panth and the Sikh community doesn't need that. And I might be naive in that. I might be, as that's fine. But look at our legacy. The reason that I talk about that is because, like, Sajjan Thug wasn't the perfect person before he came into Sikhi. It's what he did afterwards. Like, our Panth is founded on the foundation stones of people that have very promiscuous or unwanted or untouchable identifications attached to them. That's what our Panth is built on. In Garib Sikhan ko Deo Padshai, ye yaad rakhan hamri guriyai. That's Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj during Vaisakhi Day. So if that's the precedent of Meek turning into the princes, Chidiyan se main baaj ladaun tabe Gobind Singh naam kahaun, I will make sparrows fight eagles and goosehawks, and that's the day I'll call myself Guru Gobind Singh. If that's the precedent, then why is it that we're expecting perfection in the people that are trying to be revolutionaries? Gyani Det Singh, Professor Gurmukh Singh, Professor Sahib Singh, Bhai Veer Singh, all were challenged during their time. I learned this very recently, that Bhai Rantir Singh was the only person willing to have Amrit with someone that was not a Sikh. And for years after that, and this is the person that founded the AKJ, the people that revere him very much nowadays, in his time, for years, wasn't able to sit with people and have langar. Let that sit in. You don't need to be perfect. You don't. Because the legacy of Sikhs is that during the times, a lot of people are going to hate you. Guru Nanak Maharaj, on the day of his wedding, people tried throwing a wet wall on top of him to kill him. That was the day of his wedding. That's an experience. So if that's our legacy, why do we... I understand why Jackie Robinson, why black athletes, why the first black president. I completely agree. I understand that dynamic. But that dynamic is not the Sikh way. And I'm making that very clear. We don't need perfect. We need you to want to seek the best intentions and to have the proper dialogue. Satsangat aisi janiye jithe eko naam pashaniye. If we don't have the distinction of oneness, when we're going into conversation, then we're not able to move forward. That's how the Gurus explained it. That's not me talking. That's Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. So when we're having this conversation, double standards can't exist, because then that's dubida. That's not oneness. We're living in oneness. And if we're living in oneness, then we need to start saying, okay, if this applies to gay people, this applies to heterosexual couples. And if it doesn't apply, then it's nulled and moot. That's not me talking. Now, that's Praman from Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj, that's Sikhi. And so you can give me the lesson about life. I completely understand that. I know where you're coming from. But I'm coming from the perspective of a Sikh who believes that Sikhi is still alive today. And if that's our precedence, then that's what we have to live with. That's our ideal.
Sikhi is well and alive, but it's very ike. It's not the people that you named, when you named all those, they did so much for the Panth. Okay? So it's not like they just did one thing and then they went off or something like that. So we're not, these two men that got married, what are they doing for the Panth now? That's how you make change. That's how Sajjan Tug changed, right? But he changed after. Where's the change here? So that all those people that you named are legacy people, man. Legacy people are hard to find. Think about how many people you named in the last 200 years, 300 years. You named like 4 or 5. You can't name 38, can you? Right off the bat. That's how less it is. So I'm sure there's more than 38, but I'm saying those aren't the names in your head right now. So this. All I'm trying to say is that you got to do something. You want to make your mark and all that stuff. When it's done the right way, I think so. When it's really done the right way, when they adhere to the principles of Bani and Rehat, I think it'll be a game changer.
And here's the two things I'll say on that topic. When we talk about Gurmukh Singh, Professor Sahib Singh, Veer Singh, all these things, legacies, I agree with you. But you also have to understand, we talked about them post-mortem. Right now, we're talking about these gentlemen, 3 months removed? We don't know what they're going to do with the rest of their lives. A year. Okay, but still, if we're talking about 70 plus years on the face of the planet, and we're trying to compare these people a year later, by the way, Gurmukh Singh, Professor Sahib Singh, all of those people had each other. They had someone to be able to ground them and be able to tell them that what you're doing is okay. Right now, how many people are standing in support with these people and being like, you had the right concept, but you did it very wrong? Not very many. People are just shunning them and outright banning them. That's not the right process. So even with Sajjan Tug, he didn't change overnight. He transformed over time. Gurparas hamlo mil kanchan hoya ram. That when the philosopher's stone touched iron, it became gold. We need to start understanding that even you, and I'm going back to this topic, but we could talk about it some other day, you had the idea of serving meat and langar. You had the right issue, but the conversation's a how, the execution. That has to be done in a Sikh flavor, right? And when that is the conversation, that's a different conversation, because now I'm not judging you. Now it's a conversation about, we're talking about oneness. Like we started with Fateh. That means I'm not winning, you're not winning. Akal Purkh is the only one that wins. Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh. And when that becomes a conversation, then we have an aim that's not about me as an individual or you as an individual being right. It's about what is the right way. And when that's the conversation with these gentlemen, we can talk. And also, I'm not putting my chips down that they're going to be legacies, but they're game changers, because guess what? We're talking about it now. We're having the conversation now. If it wasn't them, it was going to be someone. I agree with you. Maybe execution isn't perfect, but someone did it. They were willing to put themselves out there to do this, and now that gave gateway to so many Sikhs, countless Sikhs, who might be on the LGBTQ spectrum at some level. We gave them a voice. They gave them a voice. So let's not bring down the gravity of what they did simply because we don't agree with how they did it. They did it. Regardless of what we think, they did it. And if that's not monumental enough, I don't know what is, because change is incremental. Change is slow.
They did it, and it's fine. But and I'm glad you said you're not putting your chips down there because I think you will lose that hand. But but look, yeah, yeah, they did it. It's about how they did it. Fine, but it's also so it could go both ways. I maybe I'm not optimistic like you or idealistic like you. I don't know, but it could go both ways. Either I'm going to do this because I really care, and it's going to be, and I want society to change, or I don't really care that much, but let's just do it anyway. So it could happen both ways. There's two sides of that coin. People do things because they're like they don't really care anyway. Whatever happens, happens. It's all good. Or they could be like, oh, we could do something. We could. Other Sikhs could build upon this. So it could go both ways. Let's. I'm not. I don't bet that much on people like, oh, they did it for the right reasons. Everyone did it because they want to get married, man. Dude, this is their post interview. This is not me making things up in my opinions. Okay.
That's fine. The thing is that sometimes you have to use opportunities how they're presented. Sometimes you might not like everything about them. Sometimes you might not like exactly how things are done. Because guess what? We're individuals, and where there's two people, there's 15 different views. Like, that's just how it is. And that's fine. To some extent, that's fine. Like, right now, I'm not worried about these people's jivan. I'm worried about the Sikhs and the people that identify as Sikhs having the ability to get married with the same distinction or recognition as heterosexuals, period. That's my one biggest concern. Everything else is kind of to the wayside, because in the long term, that's what's going to be the defining issue. It's not going to be whether these two people, and quite frankly, I don't know their names. It doesn't matter to me. What's going to matter is that because of them, we were able to have this conversation. Because of them, we are defining this fork in the road of where the panth is going to go, and everything else is going to be small issues. It's all small fries. For now, a year removed, it's a big issue for us. But 20, 30, 40 years from now, if Sikhs are getting married who are on the non-cis and not part of the binary, that's not gonna. We're not gonna think about what Tinku and Bintu did on their Nand Karaj Day and whether they did it with the right intentions. They're gonna look at it like they did it, and as a result, the Panth had to have discourse. The Panth had to come up with a Gurmat framework and perspective on this issue, and the Panth came up with XYZ answer for us. That's what's gonna matter, because that's when the tires hit the road. That's all that's gonna really come out of it. Nichode hi nikalna, it doesn't matter.
No, I'm glad you said that, man. I'm glad you said that because I want more people to come out. I definitely want. Look, man, Sikhi, you got to be fearless, and I get it. This in our culture, at least the Punjabi culture. If you're a Punjabi Sikh, this is like just this is gonna blow their mind. This is insane to them. But I do want all the Sikhs are that are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. I want all of them to to be fearless and come out and do your thing. And all I'm trying to say is that just do it the right way. Try to respect Guru Sahib and try to respect the right as much as you can. That's what I'm saying. As much as you can. Give it that effort. Baki, don't worry about the dunya, man. The dunya is going to talk crap all the time. Just do what you can. So, and I also want to say, all the Sikhs listening, Sikhs, non-Sikhs listening, man, we cannot discriminate. All we need to do is love these people. They're part of the community. I love. I actually tell you the truth. Now maybe it's just this conversation that I got here, but I actually love it. I think we need more Sikhs to come out. I think this is great for the community. I think we need to start. I think this will have like more love. This should be like we need to start loving everybody and start realizing Ikankar for what it is. And so I think people need to come out. I think I think this will help the Sikh community get over these issues really fast. So, I just more power to them. Please be fearless. Hope you guys can. If it's in America, invite me. I'll be there. If it's done the right way, I'll be there and I'll support you. If it's done the right way and you respect Guru, I'm there for you and I will support you. No doubt about that. But let's just do it the right way, because then the Sikh community could stand with you. Then people don't have all these stones to throw at you. They'll be like, oh, hold on. They did this, they did that. Oh, okay. Oh, wow, they did this, and then they did kirtan too at their own wedding. That's so cool. Oh my God, they know more than 95% of the people. This is awesome. This is cool. We need more Sikhs like this in the Panth. That's what I want the community to say.
Of course, and I'm with you. It's just when we've shunned people for so long about their sexuality, when we've shunned people for expressing themselves and the identity, and toxic masculinity is run rampant in our community, we don't have a very large variety to choose from for all of this. I hope that changes. I agree with you. I hope the next one is better. Homosexual and undercourage 2.0. Perfect. Works for me. Doesn't matter. But the thing that I want to bring up, and I know it's easy for me as a male who is heterosexual to be able to sit here and be like, you need to be brave. You need to be fearless. You need to do X, Y, Z. It's very easy for me to say because I have no personal stake in this. I can be a supporter. I can give a platform. I can give my knowledge, but I don't have to experience it. I don't have to question if my parents are going to throw me out of the house or not. I don't have to question if I can go to the Gurdwara tomorrow. I don't have to question if my friends are going to ostracize me. That's their reality. Now, how do we challenge that reality? I don't know. That's where I'm stumped. But to anybody listening to this, here's my one piece of advice. And this is Guru Nanak Maharaj's advice, not even mine. I'm going to change it to that. Guru Sahib says, Jo to prem khilan ka chao, sir tar tari gali meri ao. It marg pair tarijya sir dijje kaan na kijje. Guru Sahib doesn't say dekhan ka chao. It's not commentating on the chao. It's whoever has the fervor, whoever has the inspiration to play a game of selfless love, because prem means it's broken from the words pare main, to get rid of self, is where the word of love comes from in that Shabad. And from that perspective, it's whoever wants to play a game of selfless love, step into the field. There's no, in the Shabad, if you read the Shabad, there's no room for bystanders. There's no room for commentators or analysts and people that do post-mortems of situations. That doesn't exist. What did you do at the moment? Like, eti marg pei karlane tai ki dard na aaya. At that moment, did you feel no pain when people were being shunned, ostracized, kicked out of the Panth? Sach sanai si sach ki vela. We speak the truth when the truth needs to be spoken, not after the fact when we're conveniently sitting at our house. Jille danga pehniya us vele keda khada hoya. That's where we need to stand up. When things are about to hit the fan, where are we standing at that moment? Do we step out of the way, or do we say me first? That is where we have to start as a community. Whether you're an ally or someone that's playing witness, or if it's your child, or if you're the person themselves. That's the conversation we need to have, is what did you do when this happened? Where were you standing? And were you brave enough? Were you willing enough? Were you caring enough and compassionate enough? We just talked about Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day just passed yesterday. Were you loving enough that you were willing to stand with someone that was either distrodden, disheartened, and you sympathize with them? Because sympathy is not enough. Sympathy has its place, but meaningfully, sympathy is met with compassionate action. And are we willing to act is what we need to have a conversation around. Because again, it's about khilna ka chao, not about the analysis of 75% touchdown percentage or red zone coverage. That's not the game for us. We're either on the team or we're not. We're either on the team of those that are oppressed and downtrodden, or we're on the other team. That's our two situations. We're either the status quo or we're anti-establishment. That's literally the it. That's where we have to stand.
Yeah, you're with the rebellion or you're with the empire. That's it. Just can't sit on your sit on your ass at home. Okay, so in closing, I just want to say that it's going to take some time for the punt to get to this issue, but I like what you said that uh, the non-LGBTQ community Sikhs need to start pushing the punt, need to be with them, so then we could find solutions to these things instead of it just going haywire every time and then people making a fuss out of it. So I just so I guess my banty or my ask to everybody is that if this happens or you know somebody or whatever, support them, and in who they love, and if they want to get married the Sikh way, then let's do it the right way, and let's start doing it the right way. So then maybe these people can set a precedence for us for to look at it and be like, okay, they're doing it this way. It's great. It'll be normalized. And I just want to tell the punt too, and everybody that even is not on board doesn't mean they're not. It takes a long time for a person who has a great mindset. I'm talking about the older generation too, to get on this. Okay, so let's keep it real too. This is not going to change tomorrow either. Gay marriage in America took years to get mainstream. Now it's like, wow, you discriminate. 10 years ago, it wasn't like that. Sorry. Okay, Obama was not for it until he got in office and all that. So let's keep it real. These things take time. These things take time. So I want everyone to be patient and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean you don't push and support. Keep pushing and support, because right now your voice is democratized on social media. So if you could, if you could support them, please do. Please do. That is my ask, and that I'm glad that we had a conversation today, Jaspreet, about this. I know this is going to be controversial or not, but yeah, hey, we're living in this culture. We are living in Sikh culture, at least in America, where me and you are, and we're going to go through this, and we should go through this. We should go through this. So, go ahead, Jaspreet. What are your closing thoughts?
What I was going to say is that you everybody has a different way of supporting. Oftentimes, if someone posts something on Instagram, sometimes people aren't willing to get into discourse. Not everybody likes to argue like I do. And that's okay. I'm not going to ask you to do something you're not willing to do. Some people are artists. Inquisitive during this farmers thing has been painting. And his way of getting at Kangana Ranaut is she's not even worth my ink. Um, uh, we if we are able to even just inform people and be like people are always in my Instagram DMs and they're like, yo, did you hear about this? Send me the link. And then I get involved because that's my job. They did their part. They got people engaged. They got someone interested. They found a way of interacting. Do something. Like, I'm not saying go out there and like literally karpana chake like bud people. No. We don't need that. Sometimes the word is about kalma. Sometimes it's about shastra. We do both. Harmadan Fateh. And the way that we do Harmadan Fateh is that we have representation. We have people we fight for. We have people that are willing to be allies, whether it's spreading knowledge, spreading research, creating research, like the State of Panther report by Sikhi. And then there's people that are literally there with Gyan to be able to have meaningful discourse on these things. People that are Vidvans, people that are much smarter than you or I, who are willing to sit down and create said next Rehat Maryada or what have you. So everybody has a function in this. It's not like we all need to like start shunning and cancel culturing people that don't agree with LGBTQIA plus. But we all have our roles to play. Let's play them. Someone's a quarterback, someone's a receiver, someone's an O lineman, someone's a D line. I play football's my references. Someone's a coach, someone's the athletic trainer. We all have our thing to do. Let's do it. Let's not wait. Let's do it today, because our hesitancy today, whether it's to have the discourse or not, is a casualty for tomorrow. What we decide today has a direct impact on what happens tomorrow. Period.
Very well said. And I just want to say in closing that, look, if I said something or Jaspreet said something that's, and any Sikh or anybody in the LGBT community that didn't like it, Pulchuk maaf karna, we're sorry. This is not probably the last time we're going to talk about this. But if you are part of the community and you want to be part of this conversation, I would love to have you on and get your perspective, because I think the Panth needs to hear it too. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.